everybody, and welcome back. We are going into Infernal Shrines here. I am Bahamut, your caster. We have another NGS series on our hands. With me, a lovely co-caster, Smithel. How are you doing?
Hey guys, I'm doing not too bad today. It's a beautiful, beautiful Saturday here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and happy to be watching some NGS here.
No, I'm absolutely excited about this. So on the left-hand side, we have Alaska, and on the right, we have Runamok. So, Infernal Shrines, like what? What's your take on this map? I'm curious. I always like to get an opinion of like the co-caster, see how bounce
So,
ideas off each other.
yeah, no problem. So Infernal Shrines is always one of my favorite maps. Anytime I get a chance to play this with a team, I always try to make a push for it. The reason for it being is because it kind of takes the best of everything I think Hot has to offer and combines it at once. I mean, you got the 3 lanes, so you got the importance of Soak. You got the objective that spawns basically an awesome giant pushing down lanes, or the Punisher, and then you also kind of got team fight battles over that small point. So I think it just kind of has everything, and I personally really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love this map. Now we have a Kael'thas ban coming out from Runamok, and we're also going to be having a Dahaka ban here from Alaska potentially. I absolutely like this. It's these are really good, just right up the front drafts that work well against on this map.
Yeah, I mean, Dahak, if you really think your opponents are going to take him, because in my opinion, he is first pick worthy, it's a great hero to get rid of this map. He's able to get that soak in real strong during the team fights on objective. Obviously, he's also able to help you still get objective, and zone out at the same time, and has the global, obviously, which is just way powerful on maps like this. So I think it's a solid choice in regards to ban, not letting that go over to the other team.
No, it's absolutely wonderful. And a first pick Garrosh here. Interesting. Wow, snap pick into the ETC. And I apologize, I am just double checking really quickly. A little bit of a sound issue on my end. I don't have any in-game noise. And unfortunately, the quick keys aren't working, so we'll solve it as we get into the game. But either way, Stukov ETC, I think they're really powerful for this map.
Yeah, I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I mean, do you think that they can pick anything that can kind of set them up a little bit better against that initiation that they're going to have? Because the zoning that you get from the Lurking Arm and then just the overall ETC, the power slide setups that you can get with that's going to be strong.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got a lot of strong opportunities with the Stukov, like you said, the Lurking Arm. If you can get any kind of hero that can throw a stun on him or force him to move, that's obviously going to be huge. So I mean, you can always get a Tyrande to come in and just start throwing stuns and owls and chunking him, forcing him not to stand in position.
I absolutely like that. I think he's a very good pickup, and that's a strong combination too. But they're going to be going to the Sonya Rhaegar here. Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, the Sonya on something like this is always great because there's enough camps that really she can prioritize taking the camps, putting the pressure on objective points. So let's say if the objective spawns top, Sonya can quickly grab that bottom set of camps, let that push, and then you're forcing the other team to determine, hey, am I going to clear this or am I going to go to objective? Either way, you're setting your team up for a great opportunity for either a 5v4 or potentially a little bit of a head start on that objective push.
I like that. No, that's a strong pickup on their end.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah. I mean, oh, sorry, good.
looking at the ban phase at this point, though, I mean, this is the one thing that I like. A lot of these teams, what they're doing is they're drafting kind of like very like standard rigid drafts, and they're starting to like it. So we see out of Alaska, this is like a strong ban because the fact that Chromie does so well on this map, the artillery that she can provide into that backline can be devastating, and especially because of the fact they have to fight over this point. That's going to be extremely hard for them because people stack up on those points, and it's basically just a giant target for her. So I really like that ban coming out of Alaska.
Yeah, I mean, Chromie obviously does get a lot of work done. I think it's kind of setting up a little bit as to what they're thinking about picking. Again, Chromie, with the Stukov having to stand still the entire time, that's an easy target for the Chromie. So again, you're kind of eliminating options for what's it called, Runamok to play. going into what obviously is going to be their number one goal here is to keep that support alive and keep the silences off on people like Rhaegar in these fights so he can ancestral.
So wait, I've been saying it wrong. So it's Runamok, not Runamok.
I assume it's Runamok.
Because that's the thing is like that's like what I always do. Like whenever I see like just handles in video games, like I always do. Like I always like try and read it one way, and then like I'll look over in Twitch chat, and they're like, it's just Rising Sun. Like they use this letter instead of that number or something. And I was just like, oh my god, how am I not like this is such simple stuff that I'm missing.
Yeah, no, I'm plenty guilty of those types of things.
Now, I really like the Jaina Malthael pickup here. Malthael being strong for the solo lane, and Jaina is going to be really good if they do the mid to bottom rotations, as well as she's really strong on the shrines for the AoE damage and clear. So that's a nice pickup. But what do you think they'll do to kind of counter this draft in these last two slots on the side of Runamok?
So you are anticipating some sort of burst damage, basically going to be coming out on the side of Runamok. The Sonya being their number one source of damage right now, which is good. She can come in, kind of get to that back line, but she's kind of more of that sustained damage. She's just going to kind of be in the thick of it. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a mage picked up here, or something that can really take down. Maybe a gray main with Curse Bullet to really get that ETC out of position and drop his health a little bit more. But they're going to need some sort of burst coming up, and there it is. There's that Gul'dan.
This is interesting. They're going to go for the Gul'dan with the Vala here. Now, typically, we often see Gul'dan paired in with the Ariel. So the Vala here, they're opting for the more damage rather than having the extra heal. And at that point, it would also, you'd consider the Gul'dan to be a hyper carry. So I like the Vala pickup with that.
Yeah, the thing with the Ariel now is she's obviously fallen a little bit out of favor. The one thing that they're really going to have to be careful about with the Garrosh is picking their throw targets wisely. You don't want to let the Malthael get in. Obviously, the ETC can get out as well. Medivh is pretty safe with his portals.
Just the Medivh pickup here, I'm just like, no, I absolutely love it because Medivh does one thing to Garrosh, and that's just counter him.
Yeah, I mean, Medivh's make or break games. Some people play him really well. I am not one of those people. Even though I'm a support main and he's kind of a support specialist hybrid, I don't play him. But if you can really land your portals and really clutch spots, and know kind of when to be in Raven form, when not to be in Raven form, and kind of scout the map, he really gets a lot of work done. So I think he is going to be the determining factor as to how well Alaska does. If he's on his game, I don't know, if there's going to be too terribly much Runamok can do. Again, just because his shields are so powerful, especially with the Stukov healing.
No, this is going to be a very, very interesting matchup. I am quite excited about this. Garrosh is going to have some trouble with I think the Medivh, because it's the I say hard counter because if he throws someone over the gate, Medivh's just got that extended range typically that you see at level 1, and portal over the gate, they come right back through, and they're back fine. But on the left hand side here, we have Alaska with Varen on Stukov, Hedgie on Medivh, Sierras on the Malthael, Bubble This on ETC, and Rexpa on Jaina.
Then if we're looking at Runamok, we have Voodoo playing the Gul'dan. Garrosh is being picked up by Escaflowne. Spork is in the wonderful winter skin for Rhaegar. Vala is being played by Sweet Buns, and then Rain on the Sonya looking to position top lane.
There we go. Just double checking my own settings here. All right, so we will just leave this little talent tree at the bottom. We already have Ice Lance coming out from the Jaina. All right, so we have sound back on. All right, there we go. So we should be running fine with my audio now. Windows is the combo breaker. I don't know what they do. We might even have to.
I believe in you.
I hopefully won't have to pull up the menu, but it might be something that has to happen this game because I'm still not hearing anything. But we'll see.
I believe in you. I mean, I got audio over here, so I think you'll be okay. But yeah, so I mean, here's typically what you're expecting to see at the beginning of the lane is kind of people sitting there going mid, just kind of poking around, determining what's everybody's initial position is going to be. We do have Sweet Buns that left the game, and the captains do end up pausing it.
All right, and that is going to be perfectly timed for me. I
So
can
kind
now
of
I can go into my options menu now. Come on, sound, like what's happening? The funny thing is like everything's checked. It's just
Mhm.
ooh, I think I know what happened. I was fiddling around with sound stuff earlier, and of course, like the moment I do that, that's when all my audio goes to crap.
See.
So at least we have the time right now, and we can figure this out in the meantime. So
Yes, so kind of while they're paused here. So I mean, it's exactly what you expect to see 46 seconds into the game. There's not too terribly much to commentary on over this little bit of an extended break while they get somebody back in. They get sweep buns backlogged. Top lane, I think Sonya could really have a problem against this Melthiel, which is why we're seeing obviously the Volus start to make her way up top to maybe help at least put some fear into him, saying, look, don't engage on her, let her do her thing. If you push up a little bit too far, I'll be waiting. Sometimes that's all it really takes from from a team, is sitting there saying, like, look, if I show myself once or twice, they're going to be afraid and maybe be off their game, maybe play a little too defensive.
yeah, that is an option. That is definitely something that they can go into. Nothing is a. I'm looking over at Twitch chat every so often, and just someone's already saying they should pick Naz.
Yeah,
if they pick Naz, they are plagiarizing. Ooh, someone calling them out in chat. But definitely, the Felflame build coming out from Gul'dan here is... Oh, we actually have them asking for ETAs already.
Yep. So it must have been a pretty bad crash right here. The scary part is, obviously, if you're asking for ETA, and the other team hasn't already provided it, I think they're wondering the same thing. Never had this problem before, and I'm receiving no prompts.
You might want to suggest just having them restart the game at this point.
Screen looks funky, but I can type to you. You may have to restart the game to solve that. So we'll see what's kind of going on in that regard. On it.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So it looks like we'll have a restart here. So in the meantime, at this point, we'll just hang out and chat. The one thing that I always like to, what the easiest thing is, where'd you get your handle from? Where'd you come up with Smithel?
So back in high school, I have probably pretty much the most vanilla name you can imagine. It's Chris Smith. So back in high school,
it's okay. I'm a Chris too, though. So
you know how it is. Somebody just started to call me actually Smithel, and then Smithel, and then Smythe, and so Smithel just kind of stuck with me all these years. It's a little bit easier. It's an easier tag to grab for these kind of things. So it's just kind of been one that I've stuck with. Oh gosh, for probably the last 15 years or so.
Oh my god.
Yeah, man. I'm an old man over here, 30 years old.
That's not crazy or anything, but I mean I'm right behind you, so I can't say anything.
See, I mean this is one of those glory days of getting a chance to play some NGS. The wife and the baby are out, they're out shopping. So kind of have the house to myself and just relaxing, man. It's a good way to spend a Saturday.
There you go, exactly. So it looks like they're just still restarting here. I'm just trying to speed through a bunch of different speaker options, and it looks like I think looks like the voice meter is actually causing an issue, so we might be able to fix it, but we might just have no audio being made, which is alright.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world here.
It's always just fun to hear the people explode.
That is the upside.
As they fly across the map, yeah.
See, I wish you could set for observer tools. I wish you can kind of set the what's it called, announcers, like you could in game, because
yes,
the best announcers, hands down, are Lily and Brightwing.
Ooh, see, I don't know, because Diva's pretty good too sometimes.
Diva's good. I love how murderous Brightwing is, and with that voice of it's wonderful.
No, of course, yeah, that is such a good option. But it's just always fun to have Diva casting over a Diablo or something.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times I'm kind of one of those people that pick my announcer based on the hero I'm playing. So if I'm doing a Diablo hero, a lot of times it's a Diablo announcer just to keep everything square.
Right? No,
But
that's absolutely perfect. Plus, you know, they always kind of comment on their own sort of like they talk to themselves basically. I think I do the same thing. Like I put hammer on hammer. So
yeah, yeah, so it's kind of a good way to do it that way. So it does look like we got a little bit of a rejoin coming soon. Um, I'd imagine now everybody's kind of taking this time to sit there and say, okay, where are we in lane? Let's get it back into it. I'll take that.
now
Not
at
let
this point in the
the
game,
free stop too much.
we have about a minute or so before the immortal shrine will spawn.
Hmm.
I'm curious. Do you think there's going to be sort of any, if it's just going to be pretty much a stalemate until then? Because there's some teams who go for like some flashy plays before, because if you do get that advantage, now granted, it's like, you know, a kill early game isn't that much experience, as well as, you know, they can rotate back in quite quickly. But do you think anyone's going to go for like a flashy sort of kill before we go for that, or do you think this is just going to be a pretty standardized game till we get a little bit higher in the levels?
Okay. Is that right? Should I tell him?
All right, it looks like they are ready.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll get here started. So we'll say Alaska. Ready?
I think we have an R. Yep.
Run. Ready. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
All right, let's get back into this game.
All right, so to follow up on your question here before we got back into it, Gul'dan already had to go back and sip, and so I wouldn't be surprised to see the Jaina or maybe Chromie sit, or not Chromie, obviously, see the Jaina sit there and try to continue to put pressure on that Gul'dan, doing the best that they can to maybe get him out before the first wave.
No, I absolutely love this. This is going to be an interesting start to the game, because actually the reason Gul'dan had to tap so early is he almost got killed. I think he got away with about like 100 to 130 health in that first little engagement we had here. So that's a strong start. It's a strong showing from Alaska, but you know, it's early game. It's anybody's game at this point.
Yeah,
for the shrines.
It is just tough that if the objective pushes. Oh, let's see if there's a kill first before I continue this. Nope. Okay, so it is tough that if you have to sip that early, now your sippy's kind of down before this objective pops here mid, which means you have to play a little more carefully, because you can't go and take the damage, heal up, and come right back into it. You'd have to full back.
Well, the other benefit for him is now that he did tap it early enough, because I believe it's 120-second cooldown, so we are 2 minutes into the game, so he probably, by the time this shrine is active and he realistically needs it, it should be available to him.
That is true. But it looks like he's just going to stay bot, try to get some soak, which may not be a bad idea. Like you said, this first one isn't all that powerful. So if you can get a little bit ahead on talents, that's not a bad choice.
It looks like they're going to go ahead and pick up this camp in mid and actually have that rotate in. And Gul'dan may be going bottom there for a quick second, but he's going to rotate back up into the team, and he does provide a lot of value. But Vern actually going to get flipped here. He currently is going to get... It looks like he's able to get out through the portal.
Man,
he's going to be dying too. The dots from the Gul'dan.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great flip on the part of the Garrosh there. He didn't really have too many options to go anywhere. Was able to get out with the help of the Medivh, but ultimately didn't mean too much in the end game here.
No, that's definitely, unfortunately, that flip kind of set them up. Now, at the same time, they are just about even. So we do have, as I was saying before, those early game kills aren't super impactful at this point. You know, we've got about a half a level-ish difference. And so they should be able to rotate back, but it looks like they're going to go ahead and clear out the camp, and I don't know if they're going to be going and trying out for this. Actually, no, it looks like they will be invading at this point.
That's a ballsy move. I mean, to be honest, they only had 7 needed to go by the time you got there. Now you're putting your team kind of in jeopardy. The Punisher's going to jump up, could stun you out. You don't get a chance to kind of taunt him over the wall as fast as you normally would to help burn down. So I don't know if I agree with them trying to go up there and do any kind of contesting.
Definitely, I don't know if it was maybe just a quick call at the last second or something, but they do definitely pull him. They pull the Punisher over. and it will get a little bit of damage out. Now, typically we see them actually pull it between the tower and the fort. It's a little bit extra damage because sometimes the Punisher can go onto your well, and it looks like the minion wave will get that. And Infernal Shrines, it's much like Dragonshire. The wells are extremely important here.
Yeah. I mean, you really want to guard this with your life. And if you get the chance to push into somebody else and you don't think you're going to be able to take that fort, man, sometimes the well is just as valuable of an option. Like we were talking about before, if you can prevent people from having the ability to sip during the objective plays, that's huge.
It's absolutely, but Rexwell was getting pulled there by Garrosh, and we actually have a combo going out from Voodoo onto Vern, just taking him down to half health, but the Protect will come out and kind of cancel that out a little bit. So this is Medivh. I'm curious to see how this is going to really work against the Gul'dan in the later game, because the Protects are going to be something that he's going to really need to deal with as we progress throughout this.
Yeah, very, very much so. You can kind of hope that maybe you get a good fear or two off post 10s and then use that to really jump in on that Medivh before he can shield himself and delete him. But I think you're 100% right. It is something that they're going to have to consider, especially if it's kind of just going to be a 1v1 down here.
Exactly. Now in the top lane, just checking in really quick, it looks like Sweet Buns is going to push in Sierras a little bit here. So, but he does have it is Malthael, and he does have pretty good clear if he can get his mark onto the majority of the minion wave.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, we should actually be seeing the next Punisher coming up quite soon. We're going to see two camps actually picked up on the side of Runamok, which will kind of lend. Ooh, we actually have a slide in from Bubble. This actually gets a push back onto Voodoo, and that will be the kill. Hedgie going back through the portal, able to get out, and it looks like they won't go for a follow-up. I thought they were setting up for a follow-up kill, too.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think at this point it's kind of good. It's, don't push the objective. You've got your one kill. Shrine's coming up now in 1 second. Last thing you want to do is kind of overstay your welcome and end up having it turn on you, or somebody maybe gets caught out or gets killed just to maybe one bad misclick. So I think backing out was kind of the smart move, sending somebody up to start this shrine before Gul'dan and everybody gets up top.
Yeah, and it looks like they're actually going to dedicate a few of the members into that mid lane to go ahead and clear out that camp. And looks like Alaska will go ahead and start out on the shrine here, but the rest of Runamok has rotated into the top lane, and they are going to be looking for some blood. If not, they only need like a minion wave and a half maybe to get to their 10s, so I expect them to make a real big play once that happens.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just kind of playing the slow game, and here come the 10s. I'm expecting everything to be what we anticipate: the Horrify, Ancestral Healing, Leap, Warlord's Challenge.
To be honest, I like the Leap.
I think Leap is huge. If you get a chance to leap onto that Stukov or onto that Jaina, you're just going to be wrecking that back line.
That's true. The only thing that I have to consider, that you have to consider with the Leap, though, is that you're technically, taking yourself out of position away from your team. So that's the one thing you need to worry about a little bit. But Alaska here is just going to play this laning safe. They're just going to get experience. It looks like they've put Hedgie into mid to soak up that lane as well, and they're going to try and get 10s off of this top lane. But they're getting pushed back quite substantially.
Yeah, very, very much so. But you know what? It's one of those things. Look, they still have Medivh bottom. I mean, I don't think that they were ever really going to seriously be able to contest this with just the 4 of them. I think it was a smart move, getting the camp, getting 10s now, and just trying to stay on even footing.
And this is a Frozen Punisher. It is pretty powerful, and it looks like a few of the members of... Oh, we actually have a huge slide from Bubble. This actually gives it 10s, but we have a leap in from the Sonya. Huge Ring of Frost on top of that. Now we actually have just a ton of stuff coming out. There's actually the throw onto Sierras, but we actually have a Leyline Seal onto a couple of the members here. But no kills.
Ours were pressed mighty quick there.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a lot of R pressing. We still have...
So Garrosh, the only one that did not pop, yeah.
We still have Flailing Swipe from Stukov, and it looks like Garrosh will still have Taunt as well, as you noted. Now, it looks like they have been kind of forced back a little bit here, and I don't think they're going to be able to get the fort in this situation. They'll be able to get that well, as we talked about before, though.
Yeah. I mean, again, early game, it's one of those things, the Punishers aren't as strong. You don't really have a man advantage at that point. No talent level advantage anymore now that Alaska was able to pick up their 10s. So at this point, it's just, look, get the well, don't die. You have more opportunities. You're winning every team fight to date. So play it safe. Wait till you get a good pick, maybe when the timers are a little longer, and then you really push in and take advantage.
No, that's a strong play for Runamok, but at the same time, we actually have Bubble that's getting pulled in. Looks like he won't be yielding anything. They actually portal through right away, and they actually move onto him right now. Garrosh will be falling a little bit low. There is the leap in from Rain, which will be slowing them down a little bit here. And they actually get the toss out, and they will get the disengage and get a little bit of poke from Voodoo.
Yeah, I mean, that unstoppable for the Garrosh was obviously clutch. It is always good that he has that in his back pocket to use. Camps being picked up, obviously, just trying to keep a little bit of pressure, making sure nobody gets too comfortable in pushing into towers.
And we actually have a taunt onto Varen here, but the Leyline Seal comes out just onto the Ghoul Dance, so that's the majority of their damage now falling because Vala is currently top. He is out of the Leyline Seal. They portal forward a little bit onto Voodoo, trying to get some of that more damage out. But with them kind of close to the gate, they don't want to really rotate through. Garrosh going through and actually going to try. And actually, it looks like he was going for a toss. He gets onto the ETC, gets the power slide out, will be safe. The cleanse is out onto Escaflow.
And see that's exactly the power of the ETC, especially whenever you have the Medivh with him. Is ETC gets flipped out, gets the shield, can manage to survive, loses almost no health, and then able to basically just power slide himself back out there and continue his survivability.
I absolutely love it. And they rotate into this mid lane and they kind of force Rain back here, and they get a little bit of value from the camp that I don't think that was expected because Rain was postured up at least on the mini map to go ahead and clear this out a little bit quicker.
Yeah. I mean, again, at this point, I think every team's still trying to play a little bit cautious. Neither one's had that really, really great opportunity to make too much happen. I think what's it called? Runamok is just playing the slow game at this point, saying, "Look, we're going to focus objective, do a great job zoning with our Garrosh." And just make them hesitant to come in. And other than the ETC and the Medivh, they don't really have much of an option.
Well, the 13s were also cheap, but there was actually a huge Horrify. Now, Sierras was using the Tormented Souls. They actually get a Ring of Frost, but it does not connect onto any of the members. There is the vision provided by Hedgie onto a few of the members, so they do know that they were rotating there for the potential pick. But 13s have been picked up on the side of Alaska as well, so this is an even fight. We have a huge power slide in from ETC, and that's a 3-man mosh. There's no one to... currently ended, but they actually get I think Garrosh got the pull out there. Ancestral healing onto I think Spork, but I think didn't connect. I didn't see any health go up at all.
Yeah, no, I don't know what happened with that Ancestral. I'd have to go back. Maybe it was a misclick. I thought it was going to be Spork as well too, but or not Spork. What's it called? The Rain, the Sonya. But nobody really got any healing. So yeah, I definitely would be interested to see in that replay if something bugged out or if it was a misclick or what.
Yeah, exactly. Now here we actually have this Punisher currently pushing down this lane. We actually have them losing the fort at this point. These Punishers are starting to scale quite a bit. So these later game Punishers, definitely something that they're going to need to worry about on the side of Alaska. Now, at the same time, they also have the Malthael back up and alive for this engagement. So I would see a little bit of an aggressive move. They actually get the flip onto Varen. He has a filling swipe out. They actually have a Rain of Vengeance onto a few of the members, but actually in the backline, Vala will be dying. The Garrosh falling so low, he's actually going to be dying as well. Rhaegar on top of that, and we actually have a portal forward. Fear is out as well. They get the kill onto Voodoo, and Rain is just left.
Yep, and this is exactly what Alaska needed. I mean, you've lost every objective up to this point, but you got a great team fight out of it. You're probably going to get a team wipe. Yep. So now you can sit here and you can really take this time on the map to say, look, we got at least 10 seconds before Vala's up. Let's put some pressure somewhere, clear out our lanes, push them back up, maybe take some camps away from Runamok whenever they pop up. That's kind of what they needed to get back in this game, get on even footing.
No, and this is definitely their time to really push up those lanes. I would expect to see bottom become a priority quite soon after they go ahead, pick up this camp, and probably the ones in mid as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's one of those things that I'm surprised that they didn't try to put more pressure onto a lane and maybe take away a well or something like that, especially mid, open up the map a little bit for yourself, as opposed to just getting the one camp. But I'm sure they had rationale for it. Maybe they weren't feeling 100% comfortable and think that maybe they'd be able to do it without a minion wave there behind them to help back it. So didn't get as much done as I was anticipating during that time frame, but still was able to take away one camp from the side of Runamok.
Well, they also did a huge thing. They opened up this top lane quite a bit, and if they expect the Punisher to be top, I'm assuming, because that's the only logical thing I can kind of address here is that maybe they thought the next one would be top, so they could go ahead open up that gate, and if it's open, they don't have that bait over the wall, so then maybe they can get a little bit of value off of the jump. But at this point, we do have the next one, popping up in mid.
Oh, man.
Ancestral Healing does not connect onto the Garrosh. We actually have a Rain of Vengeance out on 2 of the members. Bubble Dust falling extremely low, but Sears will get onto that backline with the Tormented Souls, but if Sweet Buns is trying to get out, but Malthea will dive out, and that will be the kill as well. Mosh Pit onto one of the members, and he will be falling as well. And they actually dive onto Voodoo also, and they go over the wall for the kill.
Yeah, man. So Alaska is definitely turning on right now. It's getting to the late game. They're getting a little bit closer to full build. Rain obviously up here just trying to do whatever she can to defend, but Alaska is playing real strong in these last couple team fights. I think the Medivh ley lines are hitting the exact targets that they need to. The Mosh is buying just enough time for his team to come in and start chunking stuff out. So they're definitely getting a little more comfortable in this match.
No, absolutely. Now, we have 16s on the side for both teams, and a few of the members are going to be getting up quite soon. The Punisher, I don't know if it's going to be 100% just going over, or if it's going to be one of those things where we're going to be seeing a little bit of a contest for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're leaving the Malthea behind, taking out that front wall, I think is a wise move if you anticipate being able to win this. And, saying Runamok, I don't think they're going to get in time, which it looks like is going to be the opportunity. That lets you basically almost guarantee that fort.
It's actually, they're going to invade at this point, and we have the entire team running in here, and it looks like Alaska's just going to go ahead and disengage completely. They don't have Rexpa. He has just rotated into the team. I believe he was either pushing out lane or just going back for mana. And it looks like Malthea's going to be doing the same thing. It looks like he has to tap well, and that's the one thing that we noted before is that the well is so far away from them at this point that that rotation got them 25 skeletal defenders. They only need 8, but Runamok is starting to get the ones that they need, and there's a huge dive into the backline through the portal. We actually have a leyline seal into a couple of people. There's the Gul'dan going to be dying here. There's a Ring of Frost onto the Vala as well, so she will be killed. And this is currently also going to be the Punisher going over to Alaska. We have a leap out.
These Alaska ults have been on point these last couple matches. They are really getting good at, calling exactly when they're going to engage and being patient, just waiting for that moment. They saw Runamok coming in and they're getting close to the objective, and where some teams would have started to panic and say, look, we need to jump in. We need to stop this. We only need 8 more. They did sit back a little bit longer. And then once the opportunity really hit, that's when they made their move, and it paid out really well for them.
The 16-minute Punisher, I mean, we saw the value that Mortar Punisher got last, and that's considered, not as strong as the Arcane, or Frozen Punisher. So this is, the kind of like the mid-tier one. We actually have a portal in. A few of the members, Rain getting chased here, but Rex was actually going to die into the backline. They actually go right back through the portal. Unfortunately, Vern isn't able to get through the portal, but another one comes out. He is able to dive through. They get the stun into a few of the members as they leave, and it looks like they just lose the Jaina in this situation.
Yeah, great play by the Medivh, being able to get his support out of there, especially as low as he was, with no other options. So very solid plays.
And it looks like we are going to have, at this point, Hedgie going to be scouting out the team so they know that they don't get rotated on here as they maybe go for that bottom camp. No, it looks like they're actually going to Hearth here.
Nope. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think they could have, but, being down one person and knowing Runamok is basically going to be rotating as 5 at this point. Again, playing safe, not necessarily a bad call.
We actually saw for a split second there, Sonya was going to go into mid for the clear, but you saw right away, Rain came back in, and as you were saying, they're running as a 5 right now. They're playing very safe, especially because there's about a, we can say like level and a half difference in experience.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Alaska's going to hit 20s first. So get the camps, get pressure going, start soaking lanes, and minimize that as best you can before objective comes. I don't see them hitting 20 before the next objective pops. But if you can get to 19 and a half, that's not so bad.
Ooh, we actually have a Garrosh trying to go for the pull there for 1 second, but unfortunately there was the knockback from Bubble this, which right away just did not give that to them. But we can see this, just both teams playing extremely passive at this point, just not trying to lane too far out or even get caught out, especially, they see that they're down in this mid lane, so they go ahead and they just move right onto this fort and they say we can get this before they can rotate onto us.
Yeah, and I mean, for being this late into a game, for the fact that this is the first that a team has lost all of their forts, that's speaking a lot for both sides. Good check by the Garrosh. Obviously not one to walk into it. But Alaska does follow up really, really quickly behind. Going to try to take that last camp.
And they get their 20s first here, so we actually have the upgraded ring from. We have Torbus. Is that Torbus from ETC?
Indeed, we do,
and
man.
Medivh cheats, and we have the. I guess the stacks of swipe no longer is it utilized as just a one R button you get 3. So some definite pickups here that are going to help out the team, but at the same time they can't rotate into this shrine at this point because of the fact they don't have 20s on the side of Runamok. Like what do you do? Top lane stacked up. Do you just go for a keep?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think that's exactly what they're going to do. They know that the Punisher is going to have to go through the bottom fort and the bottom keep anyway. So at this point, if you can kind of open up them a little bit, Jane is going to go back and try to defend it. Then you can at least hopefully buy your team some time to, back, get the, it looks like they're not going to even get the keep. But I would say at least, go back, know you're going to lose the objective anyway, and then still be back in time to defend.
Yeah, definitely. And we actually have a little bit of a rotation from Rain. Ooh, Rain was. I thought Rain was posturing up for a potential gank onto Rexpa there.
Yeah, I think they maybe could have been a little bit more aggressive, especially whenever you see the objective still being taken and Jane is showing top, and taken at that speed, you can anticipate at least 1 or 2 of them still down there. So even being down at talent level, they could have probably taken that keep. The only thing
I think they might have been afraid of is the leyline seal from Medivh, because that might have bought enough time for the majority of the team to get partway through their hearth animation or whatever. And so there's that potential. I mean, you don't want to risk it. And then I don't know if can they see the members on the shrine as they're clearing it? I can't remember, honestly.
You can't see the members, but whenever you sit there and you kind of see the numbers at the speed of which they're increasing,
that is true.
You can get an idea of who's there.
We actually have a jump from the Punisher onto Sweet Buns here. He will be taking a little bit of damage. The keep is currently going to be. This is a definite keep going to be falling though.
Yeah. I mean, Punisher making his way back, even though it's really not needed. They're going to back out. Punisher's just going to get basically destroyed here at the core. Not going to take down the shields or anything like that.
But Echo Flame falling so low. Actually, the leap in from Rain, the Ancestral connects as well. That is majority of the ultimates burned on the side of Runamok, and do we still have the Medivh cheats? The Leyline Seal is available currently. Huge mosh by the front gate. They actually get the Medivh cheats onto all 4 members. Huge ice underneath. Excuse me, Rain of Frost. Horrifying comes out from Gul'dan as well, but Sierras is trying to get a little bit of damage. Will end up falling here, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I don't know if Alaska has enough to basically finish it right now, but they are able to delay this out, let their wave get in, start building a little bit of room for the catapult to make its way up here as well, knowing that they don't have too much of an issue here. Again, I think Alaska's playing real solid. Runamok at this point really needs to re-strategize and determine what exactly is failing them. The sooner they can determine that and come up with a strategy, I think they're still well in this game. But it is now a little bit harder because they're constantly going to have to keep going back and clearing the katas. They're not going to be able to engage in these long, drawn-out team fights anymore.
The catapults are going to be the issue in the bottom lane, but the other thing that I've noticed consistently throughout these fights, the one thing that I just don't know how they're just not addressing it. It's hard in the moment, but like every single engagement I've seen so far, there's a portal into the backline, and that's where the trouble starts, is because they get into that backline, Gul'dan and Vala, and you saw when they did that one Punisher push where the game literally started to switch the pacing. When Sierras got into that backline onto Sweet Buns, and they were, he wiped him out, and then they completely wiped out the entire team, and then they, started getting their momentum going, as we can see on the mini map here too.
Yep, and now here's gonna be the problem too: is Alaska not only do they have the 2 katas in the bot lane right now pushing, but they do have the minion wave. So Runamok isn't even gonna really be able to get up and start engaging on this shrine or positioning themselves well until they clear out bot and they clear out mid. This really could give Alaska the opportunity to set up, get their ETC in position, have Stukov ready with his silence where he wants it to be, and then Runamok still have to go back and clear out the middle lane.
Man, it looks like they're going to go ahead and start this shrine out, and we actually have Rexpa going into the top lane, pushing this up, making sure that camp won't be pushing up against the one that they've thrown to this top lane. But at this point, the camps have been cleared. The lanes have been pushed back a little bit on the side for Runamok. Is this the last ditch effort? I mean, we're getting to that point of the game. Actually, huge leyline seal out from Medivh onto all of the members. Bubble this is postured up. There's oh my god, the Ring of Frost on top of that. There's a 5-man mosh. They get the entire team.
That's gonna be a wipe
out. I mean, it has to be. I called it a little early, but I mean,
no,
it looks like they're going core at this point.
Yeah, at this point, why not? You don't even need the Punisher. You got your bottom minion waves that's going to sit there and take a lot of the damage for you, even though it's not needed. And that's going to be GG at this point, with Alaska going to be taking series up 1-0.
Yes, we have Alaska taking game number 1 on Infernal Shrine. So, now the question is, game number 2, we're going to be going into Tomb of the Spider Queen, and this is the map for Runamok. I'm curious to see what kind of draft they're going to be bringing to that map.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Nazebo or something picked up by somebody, only because he's wonderful at that map, and it's going to be a little bit long and drawn out, so you get a chance to get to your 20s early. But I think we're going to start seeing a little bit of some respect bans, because you could see a Medivh again, you could see a Stukov again, and you really just don't want to deal with those guys.
No, I absolutely. I think that what they've put together here on that last map, that Medivh, I mean, holy crap! That last leyline seal with the mosh setup and the Ring of Frost underneath it. Oh my god, did they just? That was terrifying. I would hate to I hate just be on the receiving end, just like no.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that if you hit the mosh and you got just an easy 1-for-1, or you can still use the leyline seal. I mean, there's so many opportunities to kind of hold them in place, let your ETC get in and pick the targets that he wants, basically stop the people from or stop the ones that would be able to interrupt him.
All right, sorry, I'm just double checking my audio. I think yes, we have audio once again. I just did a little restart to the game, but I didn't show the stats and talents. I apologize to Twitch chat. I'm a horrible caster, but I just wanted to get this restart done. That way, at least the next game will have a little bit of some sound effects, because it also helps me a ton. Because there was a lot of stuff where I'm like, all right, I just need to watch the minimap. I got to look for visual cues, because usually I go, you can hear the Ancestral go off, you can hear the Horrify. So.
Yeah, I'm still interested in what happened with that one Ancestral, though.
That is really weird. I'm gonna look into that. I have to watch the replay, because that was
I mean,
because at first I was just like, oh, Ana must have messed it up. I'm like, wait, Ana's not allowed, and she wasn't even in the game.
No, and it wasn't even like it got interrupted because it had the full cooldown after, so it hit something.
Exactly. I don't know,
It's bizarre.
I'm so confused by it myself.
Yeah, no, it really just it looked like the person it went off on got no healing, and he can't target himself. Yeah, so that is bizarre.
Lobby link. Says Runamok, even though I just called them Runamok. Because that's what it looks like. Because Runamok sounds really cool to me.
Yeah, I mean, Runamok. I mean, I guess you could do some sort of that. And again, I could be wrong, but we'll see.
We're actually. So I sent out the lobby link. We should be getting the teams in here now. Oh, okay. Alrighty. So, to people in Twitch chat, just like, hey, can others spectate? And unfortunately, we can't let people in the live channel just because we want to keep it fair. I get it. I know you might not tell people the secrets and the strats and who's on map where, but I just want to just make sure we get fair play from everybody. But okay, there we go. I was about to say, I was just like, we're not getting anyone loading into this lobby yet. I have 2 chat channels. One of them's HFC for Heroes for Charity and NGS for Nexus Gaming Series, and I keep accidentally throwing the lobby links into the HFC, and people are like, "This is the charity thing, dude. Keep putting it in the wrong one." All Alrighty. So at this point, we're gonna be setting up the lobby here. I'm gonna have a little bit of a, I think, have my co-caster needs to take care of his dog. Unfortunately, Mike seems super bassy today. Oh no. All right. Well, I tested out some different things, and I'll just turn it back down to the way it was before. I apologize. I tried different things, but if you don't like my mic, I will just. I am. Thanks for stopping by, Murda. Thanks to everyone who stopped by. Welcome to the stream. If you've never been here before, welcome. I'm Bahamut. I'm caster for a bunch of different amateur leagues. We're currently setting up the lobby for our game number 2 for NGS, which is the Nexus Gaming Series. I'm just making sure I'm getting everybody on the right teams here and make sure we have the drafters set to the right person. All right.
Oh, man.
So, everybody seems to be here, and I will just let them know when teams are... All right, just letting them know that we will interview the winner of this game. And I also, the one thing that I'm not doing, I didn't update my scoreboard. So
That's okay. You're better than me.
Really quickly, left side.
I always forget to update the scoreboard, so I can't blame you.
All right, looks like they are going to be ready. I'm just going to give them a little bit of a 10-second count so everyone knows we'll be going to this game. Let's go ahead and enter into Tomb of the Spider Queen. I'm so excited about this map. There's so many cool things you can draft here. What are you like? You mentioned before, like I think Nazebo and Zool. I think you were saying.
I did mention Nazebo. I didn't say Zool, but Zool is also fantastic here. I mean, basically anything that you can keep pressure on a lane, that's great. Obviously, with the spiders basically spawning where the minion waves are, the more that you can keep waves pushed against your opponent, even if they do manage to get it, then the spiders have this nice long walk, and they're not going to get much of anything done. So I think you're right. This kind of map does allow for multiple kind of comp options. Somebody can determine, hey, we're gonna go strictly objective based, just get a whole bunch of coin, basically piggy banks, and focus on sustained fights, getting people low, turning in objectives and pushing more so than team fighting. Or else you got the teams that can determine, look, what we're gonna do is we're really just gonna focus on wiping you and keep eliminating your coins so you can't turn. But obviously the biggest thing you want to do is have enough people to zone turn-ins from your opponent. You want to be able to keep the vision. That's huge in these types of things. So I wouldn't be surprised to maybe even see a Zagara.
Ooh, I like that. Zagara's strong on this map. The vision she provides in these rotations can be extremely, like chugged way too much water between games. But I mean, the vision she can provide is extremely powerful. And this is, I absolutely love this. Runamok is banning the first pick from last game, and Alaska's doing the exact same thing. So they're both banning out the main tanks that both teams ran. I respect bans. I like that.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, the tanks on both sides were making some pretty good plays. On Runamok, it was a little bit more earlier game, and ETT making the solid plays late game. So I think kind of taking this out, saying, I want to see what else you guys can do. I want to take away your comfort picks at this point. Really puts them into a situation, but it does open up for things like the Dahaka, maybe a Muradin, things along those lines. Even a Joe at this point, I think, is not a bad choice on this map.
What do you feel, or how do you feel about the Cho'Gall here? Because it looks like teams are currently, it's a priority on this map, and the teams are kind of setting themselves up to semi-counter it, as well as looks like they're going to go steal away that Rhaegar and Malthael at the start, too.
Yeah, I mean, if a team's going to take it, I think the only one that's going to be in the position to do so is Alaska, just based on pick order. Because if Runamok does it, you're giving it 2 chances for them to counter Cho'Gall.
That is really true. And they already have...
and
go ahead.
And I was saying, and he does have enough counter options that if you're giving 2 slots, that's great. But if they have 1 slot left, like if Alaska does it, and Runamok, let's say, for example, doesn't have their main tank, or doesn't have any kind of burst damage or something like that, then you're basically forcing them into a comp that they weren't planned for.
And honestly, at this point, looking at the draft, I wouldn't expect a Cho'Gall from Alaska at this point.
I wouldn't expect it, but you could make it work with
I
that.
mean, you could make it work, but I mean,
Because especially this map is so rotation heavy anyway, most of the time between top and mid. You could leave that Zagara bottom and just, have the Greymane and Stukov, getting some pretty good work done. Especially with the silence, they're not going to be able to burn down a Cho'Gall as much. Again, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think you could make it work.
it's interesting that they're picking the Zagara into the Malthael. I don't think it's a specific hard counter, but at the same time, I mean, but even then, I mean, technically you don't have to put Zagara in the solo lane. You can run her in the 4-man. She does have pretty good wave clear post 4 with the Medusa blades, as well as if you are rotating her, you can expand that vision between 2 lanes rather than 1. But ooh,
So they are worried about it.
they do not want to see the Cho'Gall.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, going back to Malthael Zagara talk, she doesn't have to be the solo laner, but if they don't, I'd be curious to see, what they do want to pick up as their solo lane.
If
But
anything, at that point, then it'd be just they would rotate the Greymane into the solo lane, I would assume.
Yeah, and I think now we're getting ideas as to what's going to be going on exactly on the side of Runamok. I would anticipate if they do this the way I would do it, seeing who they have now, I would leave Malthael solo lane and keep that Nazebo rotating with you to build those stacks faster. Make him go Toad build, get the stacks built up so whenever 20 hits, you're well over where you need to be at. But they're definitely a late game comp. At this point, it's just going to say, hey, survive the Zagar push early game. And once we hit 10s, 13s, and so on, that's where we're going to really turn on.
How do you feel? Oh, I was thinking Chromie Arthas, but they're actually going to go for the Tyrael here. I think the Chromie might provide like a lot of backline damage that might be, because as the game progresses here, it's just going to explode. But because they need wave clear. Well, they need wave clear.
Oh, there's a Chromie. So you're 50% there.
I'm 50% there, yeah. I'm just, because Chromie here is really good. Because the lanes are so small,
she has enough hiding spots. She has enough hiding spots, and it's easier for her to hit her target.
Well, the other thing, too, is she can punish the rotation between top and mid.
Yeah, I mean, my fear with right now Alaska, and maybe they'll prove me wrong, is just the solo tank Tyrael. Yes, he can do it, but I think if they do determine that they want to leave Malthael do the rotations with the team, Malthael could cause a couple problems for him. Especially if Diablo can get in and push him back and force him to dive on his sword.
Post 16, though, he's going to be an absolute nightmare to deal with. Sanctification and Holy Ground and Boss Pit on this map.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it.
A little bit of a clapback.
Yep. So it's to be a battle of the Medivh. Which team runs him better.
Oh, by the way, someone in Twitch chat let us know that the reason Ancestral didn't connect is because Malthael had 40% reduced heals on him.
Okay.
So I believe I'm not a Malthael main by any means. So
no, neither am I.
I'll have to go check the talent and understand how that works. But thank you so much to Das Juden, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Then that makes a heck of a lot of sense. Because we saw it pop, but it almost looked like it just immediately went away. So I was like, well, maybe somebody just burst him down real quick, but. Yeah, no, I think the 40% reduced makes a lot of sense. And again, I've played Malthael, I think, one game, and then I categorized him into heroes I will never play again.
I don't know. Like, Malthael, like, it's just... I played him, and it's just like, I got him to 5, I got my money, I got my in-game stuff, or excuse me, I think 6. And it's just like, I'll just never touch him again. Like, there's just heroes that they're not my type of hero.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. I think everybody kind of has those types of situations. For me, it's, Zeratul. Zeratul, I think I have like a 20% win rate with him. Ouch. So that's enough of a sign for me to say, not for me. Stealthy's okay. Zeratul, can't quite get a grasp on him.
Well, going into this game, we are going to have, on the left-hand side, Alaska up 1 game Bubble this on Tyrael, Rexba on Chromie, Hedgie on Greymane, Varen on Stukov, and Sierras on Zagara.
Okay. On the side of Runamok, Voodoo is going to be on the Nazebo with Rain on Melthiel, Escaflowne on the Diablo, Spork once again in the wonderful Rhaegar skin, and the Medivh being picked up by Sweet Buns. And we do see Melthiel starting the bot lane, so Nazebo is going to be rotating as part of the 4-man as anticipated.
Yeah, and this I'm not surprised about this. I mean, it's always fun to kind of think about these things in draft, like, ooh, what if they just did this? But you know that they're not going to. They're going to play this game the way that it's, the smart way, I guess.
Yeah, when it's a league game, especially this early in the season, you don't want to try anything too unique or too different. Not many people have seen you play in the season at this point. So kind of going with the tried and true classics is great. If you start throwing out what your wild cards are, and kind of your bucket picks, it's going to give away secrets that you may want to bring into playoffs or may want to bring into games that are going to help determine if you make playoffs.
Exactly, and we're getting quite far into the season right now. I believe we're in week number 3 currently, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it 3 or 2?
I don't know. The schedules are so far out that I've been scheduling my own streams like 2 weeks in advance at this point just to try to make sure I'm getting all the games. So I don't even know, but we are quite far into this game. We do have a lot of these rotations currently between mid and top, and unfortunately with Tomb of the Spider Queen, I don't really expect too many ganks to be taken advantage of this early in the game. Mostly because it looks like Diablo at this point will be triggering the majority of these time traps. It looks like. As well as just people are just going ahead and getting coins and just playing safe. They're not going for those flashy plays or, they're just making rotations.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just try to get your 50 coins and then look for the opportunity to turn in. You don't want to do it too far in advance. It's going to kind of come back and bite you in the ass.
And definitely. And the other thing that we need to consider here, too, is so the rotations are coming out from Runamok, and they're currently sitting pretty even with gems. They actually start to go for the turn in. They're starting to dive down onto Sierras down here, but it looks like they just backed right off before that potential gank. But they're pretty much even in gems, and this is interesting. They're doing these, Runamok is doing the rotations, and it looks like Alaska's just saying that we're just going to put 3 in mid and 1 in top, and then just going to have our, Hedgie's just going to be our top solo laner, and we'll have Sierras as our bottom solo laner. This is interesting. They're just foregoing the rotation,
Yeah, I think they know that if they leave Zagara alone, she's going to probably bully out whoever's in her lane. So if you have at least a double pressure, kind of keep her creep down, everything like that, I think that's ultimately the better call.
No, she is definitely going to be able to provide quite a bit down there. But at the same time, Malphite is going to be clearing up quite a bit of that creep. Now, at the same time, Medivh will provide quite a bit of protection for people as they make these rotations, and Chromie getting some of those blasts out as they do make these rotations.
Yeah, Bubble this managed to turn in at least 14 more coins for the side of Alaska. So almost on even footing with Runamok as far as gem turn-in wise is considered. But again, neither team quite has enough at this point to turn in, but Alaska is getting mighty close. So I would anticipate seeing them maybe getting a turn in here in the future.
This is really interesting. Nazebo went into Toad build here. That's...
Yeah, I could see that. I mean...
I think the spider value into the late game is going to be extremely powerful.
Yeah, it's one of those things that... Toad build is kind of the meta right now. Yeah, sure, you're not against a double tank, so it's not going to get as much value. But if the Greymane does dive in, you can really start throwing a lot of pressure off onto him.
Now they actually get that dive in exactly, but unfortunately Nazebo's in the top lane currently clearing, and they tried to portal in on Rexby, I believe, and they completely got swapped out in this engagement.
Yeah, so it looks like they are... Oh, no, I was about to say they're going to be able to get that turn in. I was a little bit wrong. Diablo obviously going to get away, barely making that play. And obviously now Nazebo just sitting here continuing to collect, but the first set of web weavers are out.
This is going to be first web weavers for Alaska. 7s are going to be achieved by both teams pretty much simultaneously, so I don't think anyone's going to have too big of an advantage, and they're actually dedicating quite a few members into this bottom lane. So top could... Ooh, actually, do we have a potential rotation for a... Okay, the way that they're stacking on the minimap, I'm like, people are going for kills here. No, just they're making safe rotations at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, at this point, let your spiders tank the damage, drain the tower shots, do what you need to do. You know, it's probably not going to get a fort unless you're sitting there as a 5-man, but if you can get all the walls down, maybe a well or two, that's a good initial push pre-10.
That's extremely beneficial for them. Now, on the top lane, they have a lot of the towers are without shot, so this top lane push is starting to stack up quite efficiently.
Yeah. I mean, Nazeeb is going to be able to back Greymane okay, but he's definitely going to need a little bit of help from his team. But Greymane is just going to back out now, recognizing that the gank is going to be attempted.
Exactly. They actually get quite a bit of value into the bottom lane and top. And looks like mid is the most fortified still, though, so definitely saving that short lane for themselves. But we have a little bit of a silence as they come through the portal here. Actually, Medivh not potentially able to get back through. He is able to get out. Okay. He is able to get out just safe. But at the same time, Stukov being very aware of where the portal was going, Varen just putting that silence out right away, making sure that they came through, they didn't get any sort of positional advantage or able to use many abilities.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these things that I think for the most part, right now the teams are just going to say, hey, look, we need to race the 10s. And if we can hold Runamok, or at least Alaska's saying, if we can hold Runamok off from turning in those coins, especially since the majority of them are being held out by 3 or 4 people. Okay, maybe not. I say they're evenly split, but they are. I was anticipating Malthael to have the majority of them being the solo laner, but I was wrong. So yeah, I mean, at this point, all you got to do is stop 2 of them from turning in. And they are doing a wonderful job at zoning out, especially with Chromie able to get her ult off a little bit earlier.
Definitely, yeah. With the slowing sands being achieved here at level 8 for her, I believe. Actually, Zagar with the Baneley talent, I believe at 7 there for the extended range, so that you know, unmounting Diablo as they got away. It's always funny whenever you take the extended range stuff and you throw a bunch out and you get that unmount as they're like. It's so frustrating to, like, you know, be mounted and then right away unmounted because you have to, you know, it's just. It slows the rotation. It definitely there's a little bit of a psychological factor that goes into this game as well. I mean, the more you kind of mess with the people, the harder it is for you to kind of like start to bounce back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think right now Runamok is just doing the best that they can. They know that they can't turn. Diablo's tried a couple times, but got hit with the curse bullet once, the lurching arm the second time, and it does give Alaska the opportunity to go bot. I think Diablo would have been better after he got hit with that first curse bullet to basically get out of that area, try to make a play happen, and then go back, as opposed to kind of hanging out and just continuously wasting time.
But at the same time, everyone has 10s here, so this is kind of good. We are going to just have this little bit of engagement in mid. Top, we actually have a portal right through, but there's a silence right away on top of the slowing sands. Diablo gets right back through it, but they're getting so much damage out onto a few of these numbers. Diablo will go out on to Greymane here. He will be able to walk away. Spork able to taking a little bit of damage from the Greymane cocktail. Rexford getting quite a bit out himself.
Yeah, I mean, Diablo's probably going to need to start thinking about heading back. I mean, yeah, he does have a little bit off on. He has a lot of coin. Last thing you want to do is give up 22 spider butts when your team needs those to turn in.
Definitely, you do not want to be giving those out. Now, at the same time, we do have pretty much everyone has their heroics available, and it looks like there's a portal through. So okay, they're just utilizing the portal just for a quicker rotation. They're not going to go for any sort of fight here.
Yep. So again, and just take a moment to appreciate the amount of creep that Zagara has been able to place, even though they were clearing it relatively quick at the beginning. Now that their team's starting to pick up a little momentum, she is spreading that vision all over the bottom turn-in, so they know when there's stuff going on there. So really all Alaska has to do is just keep an eye on the top, and Zagara is taking care of the bottom herself.
No, definitely a lot of good vision play and zone control that we are going to be getting from Sierras here. Looks like he will be picking up this camp in the bottom lane, but at the same time, Runamok is going to go ahead and pick up that hard camp. Hopefully, that will pull the majority of Alaska towards that lane so they can get this turn in. But with the vision from Zagar, which actually just got cleared, they're going to go for another turn, but it looks like Alaska's going to go ahead and try. Actually, they're going to stall this out. I was going to say try and stall it out, but they actually get the stall for now. Voodoo, yep. 20, just the gem count on the side of Runamok is just absolutely out of this world.
Yeah, but what they need to do, and what they've been kind of failing to do at this point, is as a team zoning out for one member. I think all of them are kind of right now about being the one to turn in and not losing those points. that it's getting to the point where nobody's able to get anything done. So they need to sit there and say, look, you're going to be the turn in. The 4 of us are going to commit to keeping you alive.
We actually have a huge just play onto Diablo here, but Spork getting quite a bit of healing out. Now, Ancestral is still available to dive in from Hedgie onto Spork here, but the Nasibo wall will be able to kind of delay that. He actually has to back off here. Malthael using Tormented Souls, I think, was a little bit early. Or a little bit late, but they do get the Webweaver turn in though. They have their first Webweaver turn in phase, and this bottom stacking up, and I'm curious to see what kind of pushback Sierras will be able to make.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, look, I think they have enough even after this one to get another turn in if that's right. So basically, push your lanes back up, create a little bit of breathing room for yourself, get off of your keep wall door, and then try to turn in again, and then make something happen. But this one is really just a breathing room turn in. So I think the sooner they can maybe get a wall down, maybe put a little bit of pressure on the Zagar in the bottom lane, and then get another second turn, I think that's going to be clutch.
No, this is their kind of, currently this is the way that they can get the experience advantage back into their, side of the, into their side of the court, or whatever analogy you want to make for the sports reference. But they actually get the clear here, but they want to get these 13s. They want to make sure that they're on even. They're fighting on the even talent here. They actually portal in, but it looks like, I don't know if the team was ready to do that exactly, because they went for a disengage. They're kind of scattered around this bottom lane, and Ectoflone is kind of showing himself every so often through this creep, as well as Spork. I mean, they're just rotating through the vision that Zagara has been putting out.
Yeah, and that's kind of the power of the Zagara on this map, is obviously there's not really too many places for you to hide that she's not going to know about, especially now that she took the Nidus. If she just keeps collecting things, she can go turn-in point to turn-in point, pretty much uncontested. And so we are seeing a Runamok basically trying to find a way to stop struggling against that. Stop that Zagara push, slow her down a little bit, and be able to create room and create opportunity then for them to get this next turn in before Alaska does, who also now has enough to get their third turn in here too.
No, they definitely they could go for another turn in. Now this is the point of the game too, where we often see teams kind of starting to prioritize that boss lane. So I'm curious to see. They actually get quite a bit of damage out on the Sweet Buns here. They're actually getting quite a good combo off on that Chromie. But at this point, they will be able to get the heal. It's not going to be a problem, as well as Sweet Buns providing quite a bit of vision. And so they're going to attempt to do what Alaska was doing, which was just zone them away from these turn-ins and maybe even try and steal one themselves. Voodoo going for the turn-in potentially. He will be getting it, actually.
Good turn. Yeah, at this point, you don't want to rush anything. If you can just zone and wait for the other team to make a mistake and then capitalize on it, that's when you do the turn-in. So they sat there and they saw that the entire team of Alaska was worried about the top and watching that they were able to basically just take that bottom turn in relatively uncontested. So again, it's just kind of looking at what your opponent's doing and playing around it as opposed to trying to force the turn in just because you're afraid to lose those gems.
Exactly. And I mean, they get the turn in, but at the same time, this turn I don't expect too much to happen. We're going to pop down the bottom really quickly. We can just see this Webweaver's getting no value. And then at this point, the top lane Webweaver isn't going to get any value as well because Zagara has already rotated up there. He's just going to be pushing into that one. So they will only get mid lane here. They're going to get maybe the fort, definitely the well. They're getting pushed in a little bit here on the side of Alaska, but at the same time, they are really close to 16s. So they get a couple minion kills here. They can start to switch this fight over to their favor.
Yeah, they definitely need to find a way to get on even. So again, it's tough to do when you're going against a Zag with Nidus because she's just going in and out all over the place. She's pretty well set up, can heal back into her Nidus. So you're going to really struggle against that. The best thing that they could do is maybe send somebody whenever they get a little bit of breathing space and start scouting out those Nidus networks where they pop out at and starting to clear those up.
Definitely Medivh able to probably use that with his level 4 talent, if I'm not mistaken, but that is going to be a turn-in on the side of Alaska. The portal out of the Slowing Sands is going to be used, definitely keeping Diablo safe there, but Sweet Buns not having any sort of portal or shielding, I believe, at this point. The Protect is up, the little bit of a gate. The Ancestral does hit Sweet Buns. They actually get him out safe, but they burn the Ancestral here, so it's going to be like a 100-second cooldown that they don't have for this Webweaver phase, and, Alaska's already pressured up the majority of the lanes. Bottom is definitely something they're going to need to respond to quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Ancestral, again, while it was tough that he had to use it because that was such a short portal range, I think that was a misclick on the part of Medivh. But at least now you still have Leyline Sealed available to you. So if they really start pushing in as a team, Medivh's going to be able to find a way to get up there and place that ult and stop it, especially whenever we start seeing them getting ready to approach keep walls here.
Definitely, and you already saw Bubble this going ahead and throwing out his Eldrune's Might just to get a little bit of vision as well, zoning, potentially utilizing that Holy Ground, but it looks like at this point the majority of the Runamok is going to have to just dedicate themselves into this bottom lane because, as I was noting, it's so pushed up, and with that, they go ahead and they push up this top, and this is the lane that really Runamok needs to focus on protecting. This is the boss lane. This is your win condition on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that with all lanes now kind of pushed with an APOC going off. Oh, beautiful chain stun on that.
They're trying to get a chain stun onto Chromie, but unfortunately there's the sanctification onto a few of the members there. They're actually diving in for so much of this damage. Portal is there for the out. The Slim Stance is the driving. Okay, he's able to get out, but Sleep Bun's falling extremely low there, and no deaths in this situation. But all the ults were used on the side of Runamok.
Yeah, but like you said, it's one of those things that they were able to sit there and buy at least a little bit of room. Runamok has to know they're going for boss at this point. I don't think there's any secret to that.
Exactly.
But are they going to be able to get in? Nope. And the boss is just go. Nope. Okay.
There's no sanctification. I think it's just a bait, honestly. Because they don't have a Leyline Seal. They don't really have any boss control technically on the side of Runamok because Leyline Seal is down.
Yeah, they were trying to keep it tagged for a little bit just in case, but now that Medivh's there and can scout it, I think they know they can't really just engage. But maybe making a liar out of me?
I think they are.
Yep.
I think they are. They are definitely. They're actually. I think they're going to go ahead. I think they were considering which they were going to go for the turn and interrupt or the boss, and it looks like they're going to go for the boss now. At the same time, when they did that turn in on the side of Runamok, they went into the bottom lane to do that.
Yeah.
Leyline Seal is out, but unfortunately the boss is already picked up here. We have quite a bit of damage going out onto Diablo. Curse Bullet connects onto him as well. The charge is there.
Good Ancestral.
Very good Ancestral there. But at this point, we don't have Ancestral anymore. But that's fine, because they kept all their members alive. The boss is going to push this top lane, skip over the Web Weaver, and work on this keep. I don't think it's going to confirm it.
Maybe. No, it's not going to. But it's kind of rough. I mean, on the upside, you did prevent Runamok from being able to push with their spiders and their turn-in, so basically wasting at that point a whole bunch of gems. But you didn't get an opportunity to push with their boss. I think they knew they had the Zagara that could clear it, and it was pretty well pushed up anyway. So I think they would have almost been better, instead of rushing to clear everything right away, to leave, maybe 2 or 3 people and go with that boss, at which point they probably would have taken that keep.
Definitely. Now we do have, so the majority of the Web Weavers are cleared here. They do get a little bit of a push-up, but at the same time, do they go for the chase? 20s are extremely close. If they get a couple kills here, they could potentially swing themselves into 20s, maybe even take over the game.
Yeah, I mean, Runamok definitely has to find a way to clear some of the gems off on the side of Team Alaska here. They have enough to turn in again. Your top keep is just a sneeze away from going down. You need to find a way to, strip them of some of those coins and win a team fight before 20s are taken, and then you're down a talent tier again.
Definitely. Now we actually have the Zagara. Okay, so I was like, Zagara went to the Nice Network. I'm like, she hasn't popped back out of the lane. Like, where is she? I think she was getting healing from the Nice Network, but definitely, or at least maybe posturing up in case there was a little bit of a engage there, just to able to come out. The other thing that I want to note really quickly, just looking at stacking wise, does Rexbush show the overstacking for me? It does not. But I want to note here really quickly, Nazeeba's at 284 stacks of Voodoo Ritual. Like, when 20 hits, he's going to be strong.
He's going to be trouble. Yeah, I mean, Alaska needs to end this now. They need to take a keep or 2. They cannot let Nazeebo turn online. I mean, that's the thing with Nazeebo. There's upside to him because at 20 he does turn on, but you're then banking that you're holding on the game well enough until 20 is taken.
That's the thing, and the one thing we need to know here, just peeking at the minimap, they're currently just all stacked up in mid, the entire team, but that top lane was already pushed up, so these Web Weavers are going to be kind of presenting themselves quite far up into the top lane, and it looks like on the side of Alaska, they're trying to focus the mid here for the turn-in.
Yeah, they should be able to get 2 keeps out of this. I think the spider is going to be able to just get, if it can just walk up just a hair and get 1 attack off on that keep, it's going to drop. And I think Team Alaska is going to be able to take the mid one just as 5 with that spider as well. And bottom spider, again, probably not going to do much of anything.
As well, they don't want to invade too aggressively here because they don't have the 20 advantage, and that power spike is quite, that's game shifting. Yeah,
it's big.
It's big. So definitely, they're playing safe behind the keep here, just trying to get the poke damage out. But unfortunately, as you said, they are going to confirm this, and that's going to be the first keep going down. Now in top lane, just gonna peek at this really quickly. Looks like they are. Bubble this going ahead and actually throwing his Eldrain's Might, but Rexford will confirm it. They actually get a huge Leyline Seal into a few of the people, but I don't believe there was a follow-up Apocalypse used. The Flailing Swipe is used from Varen there, and they get the disengage, and why wasn't Apocalypse timed out with the Leyline Seal? That's odd.
I don't know.
They're going for a triple keep, though. They rotate into the bottom lane as the 5-stack, and they are postured very aggressively for this, and they're still going to take advantage of the fact that that Runamok doesn't have 20s, and this Webweaver's about to fall, but they just say, that doesn't matter to us. We will just dive right in. We're going to throw Soling Sands out, throw our Eldruin's Might, and they go ahead and confirm 3 keeps with 1 Webweaver phase. Yeah,
that was a real good push. I would have liked to see them maybe try to put a little bit more pressure against Team Runamok. Maybe not necessarily trying to win, but keep pressure there. Again, because once the Zebo hits 20, he's down. He's going to start really putting out pressure and putting out all kinds of damage on you. So if you could kind of kept them in base, prevented soak a little bit longer, let your wave pushed up, I think that would have been great.
No, absolutely. But they did get a lot of value here, and the bad part for them at this point, they have nothing to do on the map. They can't turn in because, they did turn in. They got 34 out of their 70 in. They can't go boss. They can't go camp. They just can't, because it's pointless for them to force a fight at this point because most of the members are now at 20. Zebo is actually holding his 20 talent, and if he doesn't go into that,
I'm surprised that wasn't instantaneously picked.
With 325 stacks currently, of course you go into the Voodoo Ritual buff at 20.
Yes,
what are you doing? There we go. There it is. Okay.
I was gonna say, I was like, that was a little bit long of a deciding factor. Maybe
I was just like, maybe you know what? I think I need Fury of the Storm. I think I need that extra wave clear. But it looks like they are going to try and go for a turn in on the side of Runamok. Actually, Chromie getting quite a bit of poke out, and they're just delaying this as long as they can. Greymane getting a little bit of a cocktail out as well. Diablo will zone here, and they're going to go ahead and get the majority of the turn in at this point.
Yep. I mean, right now what you got to start doing if you're Runamok is saying, look, we're zoning for our Nazebo. He needs to start being the major carry of the game, so to speak. He needs to start putting out the damage numbers. They do have a problem where they're going to have to send somebody back to start clearing up that bottom wave catapult and giants coming in.
Don't forget about
as
mid
well as
too.
the mid. Yeah. And this is the downside being down 3 keeps. Is sure you got the Nazeba who's turning on at this point, but now you're constantly pushed with a boss coming in very, very shortly from Alaska. So this could very well be game unless you engage this boss further up the lane. You can't give it, the majority of the walk.
Ooh, they get the stun out there, but they don't get onto this point quick enough. And they also, the other thing to note here is they had Flailing Swipe available, so if they did go for that, as well as they had Sanctification and probably Holy Ground. So definitely they have really good boss control, but a huge aggressive pick here. They actually get the stasis from Chromie. The Leyline Seal connects to a couple of the members. Stasis ends for Chromie, but she's in that backline. Flailing Swipe out from Vern, making sure that they don't get picked off here. Ancestral Healing went out as well. And meanwhile,
the boss,
core,
I don't like that chase. What were you were going to chase into a fort and you let boss walk all the way to your tower full health, and now Alaska's going to follow you back in with pretty much full health anyway. So you literally
they get the Sanctification out. But we actually get the first kill in this situation. Actually, excuse me, it was Medivh, and then Malthael will be following here as well as Diablo. But he does have Soul, so he will be back in 2 seconds. So they do have the Rhaegar and Diablo, but that is going to be game number 2 going over to Alaska. They will take the series 2-0 and get 3 points for the Nexus Gaming Series.